Cool. Let's go over Fracture. So asked about Fracture and also playing Reyna on this map, but I could just give like a quick overview. Good news, you know, they didn't change anything about this map when they re-released this, and this is a very unique map because for defenders they have super fast rotates through spawn to either sites, and it's very unique in that for attackers there are 4 different lanes that also split up, at least for the A sites, to hit A or B. The strategy around playing Fracture a lot has to do with, like any other map, eliminating lanes, right? So when we think about Haven, for instance, there's 5 different lanes, and a very easy way to get rid of 2 lanes completely, like 2 birds, 1 stone, is by getting A main control, right? Because once you get A main control, you don't have to worry about people going to sewers, right? So then you can kind of shift more focus and attention towards playing on B or C as defenders. And for the attackers, obviously the goal is the same, right? You kind of want to, especially if you're kind of like playing a default, you want to get control of A main. You kind of want to put pressure on those lanes so that it forces the defenders to be spread out a little more. And so if we were to apply that same principle over to Fracture, where can you guys see on the map where the lane kind of splits that the defenders could easily fight for? All right, yeah, A main, right? Because it splits into door, splits in right, sands, and also A main, right? It's pretty simple, right? And so that's why we often see people fighting for this space, whether it's with Teho rockets, whether it's with breach stun, whether it's, you know, neon stunning this at the start of the round, nades, what have you, right? Because once you get control of A and you know that attackers are not going towards A, what does that mean for the defenders? They only have to worry about, yeah, it's either B or they're like lurking up drop or something like that, right? But it's a little like drop is way easier to hold, you know, if you guys have all of A main control, because, you know, now you have players on site from A main, from ropes, from CT, from anywhere on the site who could just hold this tiny like choke point at drop. What this also gives you opportunity for is for defenders to actually push out even more and go for flanks, right? And if you also get info that enemies are not B main anymore, then by process of elimination, attackers only have arcade and drop to work with. And because of how fast the rotations happen for the defenders on this map, it becomes very, very easy to stack a site that the attackers are hitting. So rule of thumb, if you are not fighting for any of these lanes as a defender at the start of each round, like just pick one, you know, but you just have to fight for at least one thing every round. Otherwise, you're going to have way too many question marks. You kind of mentioned Akbi, where you guys didn't really have an initiator and it was really hard for you guys to get info. And so oftentimes you kind of had to just like drive peek into things or not be prepared for when attackers do hit a site. And then you just be playing like perma retake or something like that, right? Because the advantage is, yeah, for defenders, the rotates are fast, but it also doesn't take that long for attackers to hit a site either. And for them to also just cut noise or deny information from defenders, rotate over, fake the site, and hit the other side. Like for all we know, you know, attackers can also fight for this A main control, right? They might even open door, they might smoke off rope, you know, they might take A main control. Maybe this gets smoked off, right? But then they could just cut noise, kind of like walk over, or have someone lurk through arcade, right? And this person says, hey, I think B is kind of free right now. Then they could walk back and explode out onto B while all the defenders like rotated quickly over to A because of all the noise that happened. Now the attackers taking advantage of this 2-lane split, right? And so rule of thumb, right? For defenders, you're going to have a very, very hard time if you are not getting info, if you are not fighting for control for at least one of the lanes, okay? And if you do manage to get control over one of these lanes, the other players that are on the site with that information should rotate off or actually support the person that either pushed up or utilize the utility that they use to actually push up and capitalize on that by either double flanking or having one person just hold, right? And the other person fast rotating off. So that way you could stack a site. We went over defenders. For attackers, right? It's the same principle. If you just straight up rush A, right? I think we see this a lot in ranked games where, you know, people just like rush into this spot and, you know, hope for the best and try to hit A. It's not going to cut it, right? Because if the defenders are smart, like I said, and they're peeking into B main or they're using util to clear B main or arcade at the start of the round, and you guys are making a bunch of noise on A, and you guys are like, okay, well, let's fake A, right? And go back. That's a crappy fake, right? Because they already have info for the other lanes that you guys aren't there. So it's obvious where you guys are. So that's also part of why you might be losing, you know, on the attacking side. But when you are attacking on Fracture, it is a very good idea for you to also start, you know, on this bridge side and have some people make presence over on arcade. It doesn't have to be both, right? But just one or the other, or just have them kind of go late, just so that the defenders do have to be wary about getting crunched, right, on site, and also to break any utility that the defenders might be using to get info, right, or punishing any defenders who are being lazy with getting info or trying to get space. So, and once you do punish defenders like that, the site opens up very easily and it becomes a lot more easier to manipulate rotations and actually hit sites. Because, you know, what happens oftentimes is, you know, let's say like someone like a defender peek B main and they just like die. What generally tends to happen? Defenders overreact, right? And then they just start rotating over to B, and that gives you guys like a lot more options. Okay, like, do we want to, you know, capitalize B off of that depending on when that pick happened, or if it was like a pick that happened at a longer distance fight, that means it takes more time for us to run up and get to site 2, right? So maybe we just use that to our advantage and actually just go the other side. That's how you want to be thinking about this map on a macro level, okay?
Hey guys, it's Konpeki here, and if you're tired of struggling in ranked, we can help you gain 500 RR in just 10 weeks, guaranteed, or your money back. We have limited spots each season, so click the link down below to book a free call now.
So, like, as Reyna, you know, obviously when you're attacking, you want to kind of use your blind with maybe like your other teammates' abilities as well. If you have a Sky, you know, blind together with the Sky so they can't break the eye, or they'll get actually flashed by the Sky flash because they're trying to shoot your flash. Generally, you know, you just want to stick with your team and just second entry to trade the first duelist that is like diving onto sites. It's fine to also kind of like split push, you know, go with your team, take these fights. Pretty standard, you know, try to play like off angles as you're holding sites. Like you can try to, you know, as defenders, like fight for a main space with teammates, but as you're getting pushed, you know, make sure you're falling back, take these fights, you know, go to side and just be slippery. Like that's like how you play any other duelist, right? But I do have some things that I guess Reyna specific things. It's just more like duelist specific things in general, right? Like you want to be using utility, either your own or your teammates, to be taking control of either of these lanes at the start of round, like we talked about. Okay, as an attacker too, yeah, you want to be helping your team getting control over like key areas of the map with your utility as well and taking space. That's how I would sum up Reyna. For Sentinels, you know, I mean, I think KJ, Cypher are still the most played on this map. KJ is really good because, you know, you can ult from under. You can also have like a couple turret spots like up here to hold like both lanes. I personally really like Cypher because, Duxon, can you come over to this corner? And can you like stay crouched like this against the box? Sorry. Yeah. So, wait, did they patched this, right? Oh, shoot. Okay, it's patched. I'm sorry. Maybe if you have a raise, you could like, yeah, maybe you could like, yeah. get a raise or something. But you were able to see like basically, yeah, right where spawn barrier drops, like off that cam. Wow, okay. I haven't played Cypher in a while. But I would, yeah, definitely like cam early. Either cam early and get info of where people are so you can fight for these spaces. Otherwise, you can, you know, like cam something like this where you can hold a bit of main as well as arcade, so that you don't have to have as many players on the site with you, and the other teammates who are stacked on let's say A, right, and have a lot more manpower and utility to fight for key areas. And then when you're attacking, it's good to also get info, right? Get info always for the team. Like what I like to do, you don't always have to do a trip like this, especially if you have the cam. But this, like for instance, this cam is very good because as you are attacking, right, like you could catch people off guard, right? Like you could get this cam and you could see if like they're pushing up, right? And then maybe like your team actually like swings back on the guy that's flanking, and then you guys could just go like back B, right? Or even if like you're not going to go, or if you guys like, let's say like go B, and then if someone like flanks from dish, you know, like you'll be able to see this, you know, and so you can be prepared for that fight, like by playing, let's say like these like off angles. And if no one is there, right, that means it's very easy, because let's say another trip that you normally put down a Cypher on this map, you know, something like this, right, very standard. But if let's say like no one hit this trip, you know, and we also don't see anybody, you know, coming from dish, then it makes the post plant super easy. Like you only have to hold generator, right, and canteen, well, that's it. So Sentinels can be very strong too, because of how they can provide so much info and passive info about these lanes. I'm really sad that they took that away though. Yeah, this is another trip. This one's a little crazy. Oh. Yeah, you like that one? You can watch my screen, Duxon. It's like right here. Yeah, and then as for initiators, oh, breach. Pretty meta. Letting this off rip, you know, and then letting people fight a main. This off rip, right? Also very good. What you could do is like stun this and then, you know, throw another flash for teammates to take that fight. Also very good, like if let's say you have a jet on your team and like you guys want to fight for B main, you could throw a stun, and then yeah, jet could literally dash updraft up here, and then you just throw another like flash for her up here. So yeah, if you have a breach on your team, you always want to be looking to fight one of the lanes, like I went over. That's why breach is so good, you know, because there's a lot of easy lines that he could hit his stun with it, and it's very good for fighting each of these lanes early on. I mean, Teo is also pretty good because, as you guys know, you know, you could throw a molly at the start, and with the door, you know, he could also, you know, drone out early. All right, don't jump, it's gonna slow down, you know. You drone out early and get all this info, right? And if it's clear, you know, makes it very easy for you guys to like double flank A, or for teammates to rotate off quickly. That's why it was also, I think, very good. And obviously like the ults can cover everything. Then for controllers, yeah, Brim is very good because his ult is very, very useful when it, you know, if you want to take like power, or if you want to break like KJ ults, or obviously ulting sight, and pairs very well with breach, right? Breach stun and ult, very, very powerful. Can't run away from your ult. Yeah, if you're gonna play him though, try to learn some lineups with him. And also, because sight hits can also happen very fast, the stim is very, very powerful too. Stim your whole team and just slam a sight, or rotate quickly if you guys need to. Brim's very good. If you guys want to play new agent mix, definitely want to help your team fight early for spaces. I think he's a little tough though, because you can't really smoke the other side of the map if you want to help out. So I think he's a little bit hard to get value out of on this map in particular when I've tried playing him, as opposed to like even Clove, because Clove, you don't have to necessarily be like fighting all the time with the util, right? But I guess with Mix, like you still can play like a little further back. So, like instead of fighting for the early like choke points, maybe you just play like with a sight choke itself, you know? So like stunning that, or like rotating, you know, like smoking this and stunning this as people are coming out. ISO Astra, yeah, she can be good. Yeah, just because you could pre-place a lot of these stars. Yeah, for fights, right? You can smoke that, or you know, smoke that and then stun it, or suck, right? Right. Yeah, there's a lot you could do as well. But I think if you guys just get the fundamental concept down of fighting for the lanes, and how you're going to do that on both the attacking and defending side, you'll be able to think of how you could use your kits to do that. Yeah, any questions? Yeah, so for it goes for both teams, but how you do it is going to be a little different, because for defenders, right, let's say like if you guys are fighting for every single lane, that's not going to be good, right? Because resources, manpower, it's spread too thin. If you're just solo peeking into B main and there's 4 attackers just peeking into with flashes, like or like a neon stun or breach stun at the start, like you're dead, right? So you have to be smart about like how you're fighting for the lanes. Like as I kind of went over with that example of playing Cypher, like I could have Cypher on B, and I could have like even just like myself or just like one other person playing on B with me, and we could have like 3 people fighting for A main, for instance, you know, or one person can just play like A main passively, and then we could have maybe 2 people like fight dish, you know, and then clear all of this, you know. So once we clear dish side, attacker side bridge, you know, we clear all of this, then I know as the B player that, okay, I only have to worry about either A main or B main, right? It's just being intentional about higher splitting resources, higher splitting manpower to get control over one of the lanes, which gives you guys a lot of early info to rotate to the other part of the map. Does that make sense for defenders? Okay. Yeah. And then for attackers, it's the same. You want to punish any defenders who are being lazy, basically, with fighting for info on any of the lanes. And if they're not fighting for any of the lanes, that means you can actually just slam sites because they're not going to be ready, you know? Sorry, I take that back. Don't just blindly slam the site, but if they're not fighting for any of the lanes, you can manipulate rotations and throw lots of fakes, and the defenders will have no choice but to respect you because they just have no info, right? Because if the defenders are not fighting for any of this, then as attackers, we can make presence everywhere on the map, and they're just going to be confused, and they're basically going to have to sit in their spawn, not knowing where you guys are going to go, you know? And then when you do hit a site, like whoever is playing on site's going to have a hard time getting any help from his teammates. Okay. Any questions about Fracture? Yeah, Vice can be good. You're kind of screwed though if they bait out your trip, like your wall, because your flash doesn't give info anymore either. So I think KJ, Cypher probably the best right now. Or ult can still be useful, you know, if you go under. And as an entry, what should I do when my teammates mental boom, toxic, don't communicate, don't help with util? Unfortunately, you just have to try your best with what you've got, you know. Hopefully you try to work with the teammates who haven't mental boomed yet and still try to talk and get strats going. But the no help from util can be extremely frustrating, because like you want the util so you could go in, but you can't. So if that's the case, you kind of have to play very slowly and try to just take very slow, calculated fights. You basically have no option to play fast. if that were to happen. But you just have to try to get frags, you know, in a self-sufficient way still, and hopefully that gives enough impact for your team to close out the round. But just because your teammates mental boom and they're not helping you doesn't mean you just run into site by yourself still, or just dash out onto the site by yourself trying to make some sort of hero play, because like 9 out of 10 times you're just gonna die and look silly. And then that might mental boom your teammates even more, like, oh my gosh, now our jet sucks, you know. Look, see, look at our jet just throwing, like going in there throwing his her life away. Like, yeah. Yeah, that's good. But the thing is, I will say, like, on it, like practically it's harder to do, especially in ranked, because people are like very impatient, right? Like that requires a bit of coordination and team play, and that's just not really realistic, right, in a ranked setting. What you want to do is to try to at least, yeah, you could try to default a little and break util, you know, make presence, and your goal is to try to bait out like enemies into peeking you, you know, or peeking into your team. If you can just even do that, like you're gonna be able to like still win a lot on the attacker side. But again, if you're just solo Reyna and you have no dive duelist, it is a little bit tough. I will say it is tough, you know, getting onto site. But so the only way you're going to get onto site is like if you just have, yeah, like just good positioning around your teammates, so you could trade them or they could trade you. Kind of it. Like you just have to win your aim like aim duels. So that's like Reyna in a nutshell, right? You gotta peek and get the kills. Yeah, but just be smart about it. Ideally, you don't go solo Reyna though. You know, solo duelist. That's a little tough, but it is possible. It just changes the way you play, right? You just have to play a little slower. And if your team still wants to play fast at their own deficit, you could try to get in a few lurks here and there. I know lurking Reyna, haha, but it's ranked. and that might make the defenders have to respect the lurk a bit more, so it allows your teammates to play a little bit faster if they want to. Yeah, but in an ideal world, ideal scenario, you do have to play a little slower there. Yeah, because let's say like you guys fight a little for A main, you know, you guys don't make any noise, then the defenders here either are going to want to peek B main or push arcade, or, you know, re-peek main later, right? And so you just kind of have to like hold and like wait for the defenders now to get impatient. It's funny. Yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's funny, but a lot of times in ranked, like it's like whichever team is more patient than the other like wins. That's kind of how it feels. Or whoever just like has way better aim. Yeah. Unfortunately, that's kind of ranked right now. Or play off the map and play crazy off angles like this. Yep.